first group up doing these presentations, and we're doing Vermont Teddy Bear, as you can see. So who are we? We are Explorers 2, which consists of myself, Yi, Suthan, Daniel, and Leo. So this is the structure. So we're going to start with the introduction, which is being done by myself. Then we'll move on to a strategy, which is done by Yi, and she'll go over what we are going to do, what are the issues related to our case, and how we're going to address them. Then we're going to move on to the finance by Suthan. It's going to go over the budget, the costs of each individual portion, and then also the market financial information. Then we move on to the implementation by Leo. He's going to go over the strategy, long-term, short-term, of how we're going to implement, the specific dates that we're going to target for our implementation. Then we move on to the risk management with Daniel, and he's going to be going through 5 steps which we're using to mitigate the risk associated with our plan. And then we'll move on to the conclusion. So we presented ourselves a key question: how can Vermont strategically improve their IT to improve business performance? So this is a 2-part question. How can Vermont strategically improve their IT? And how can this improve business performance? And we're going to look at both of these, and we use these to develop our strategy. So we're going to look at the business model. So I'm going to start with the financial model. So this is classed as a medium to small business from our research. They do not have much money to devote towards IT. And then we go on to the business divisions. So there's 3 main divisions, as we can see here. We have the teddy bears, but we also have the flowers and the pajama market. And each of these basically makes up their catalogue type of business, but they are mainly, I would say, a gifting service that people will use. So this moves on to the target market. So 40 to 50-year-olds who are wealthy generally, I guess, looking to buy high-quality gifts for their loved ones or family members, or friends, everyone, based around 3 main holidays, but also through the year. So Valentine's Day, Christmas Day, and Mother's Day. And we've also built our plan around these 3 main dates due to the time differences that our strategy is being implemented in the longer periods of off time between the holidays. Then this moves on to the value proposition, as I already mentioned. High quality gifts, they're relatively high end. They're also very simplistic for someone to use. They just order a beer in a box. It comes with a nice gift card, candy, Bear Graham gift, as you can see there. And so that's very convenient for many people. They don't have to put in much effort. It's the same for flowers and for pajamas. So then we move on to the current situation that we find ourselves in. So as we can see here, we have some nice images to represent that. So the current IT infrastructure, which is a big problem, is basically made up of a spider web of best of breed systems, and then this is held together by a bunch of different middleware. However, this middleware has become a black hole due to a lack of reporting on how they're being held together. But then the business also is lacking analytics, as you can see there, and the IT people, further exacerbating the problems, are mostly focused on troubleshooting and user enhancements rather than actually sorting out the system and understanding it themselves. So this moves on to the plan. We plan to implement a fully integrated ERP system, a supply chain management system, and a data warehouse to improve the business analytics. And this will help improve the issues. And this is our strategy, and this will be further discussed by Yi.
Thank you. And now I'm going to talk about the issues and strategy for the Vermont Teddy Bear Company. First of all, there are 2 issues, one for the marketing and one for the IT department. As we all know, they have 3 different products: the teddy bear, pajamas, and the capsule flowers. And for teddy bear, they have highly seasonal sales, and the peak times like Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, and Christmas. The high volume customers and peak period demands are difficult to control for them. And for the pajamas, they outsource it to overseas factory, which leads to 6 weeks to the order. Therefore, they cannot fulfill the stock immediately. And for the capsule flower, the data shows that the sales decreased in the last 7 years, and they have to compete with thousands of competitors. All of these issues are due to improper marketing strategy, and they target a departments, they have 4 different issues. The first one is the software bug, and they spend too much time on troubleshooting, leaving little time to develop new application and implement new versions of packaged software. And there's an incomplete IT architecture document exists in Women Teddy Bear Company. And finally, decoding the business logic of middleware was the biggest challenge since most of it was undocumented. And therefore, we come up with a short-term strategy and a long-term strategy. The short-term strategy is between the peak periods. First of all, we need to document all the applications and fix current problems like the software bugs and the data management. Then we need to outsource part of the software and system, such as the accounting system, as Women Teddy Bear Company face challenge in the accounting system, which is responsible for the data entry, sales, and inventory management. Outsourcing can save their employee resource and be more cost-effective. And then we need to build a data warehouse which can identify the buying trend for customers, arrange high-value customers, and handle the peak period demand. Marketing forecasting and bundling of products can be coordinated with better data integration. Furthermore, we will improve supply chain management, which can increase the efficiency and ensure the stability at peak periods. Finally, we will hire short-term employees. For the long-term strategy, we will develop an ERP system that integrates all the individual departments into a single ERP package, as well as reduce the middleware. And as the ERP system can make it easier to track the workflow across several departments, and this company has 3 different brands and 4 different channels. And Women Teddy Bear is a small to medium-sized company. The cash reserves are limited that cannot afford the home ERP package in a short time and supports the home implementation. Then I will pass to Susan to the financial part.
And now, firstly, we'll just look at the recent industry trends for each of these products within the US within the last 10 years. First, looking at the plush toy sales, in 2003, there was 1.7 billion in sales. Then the following years, it started reducing at a constant rate up till about 2008, where it started to increase back to the 1.7 billion it had in 2003. And then for the floral industry revenues, in 2006, it registered 8.2 billion in revenues, while decreasing the following years, and then a dramatic drop in 2009, where it went down to 6.7 billion. And finally, looking at the apparels industry, in 2006, they registered 88 billion in revenue, and then increasing the following year to 89 billion, then decreasing at a constant rate up till 2010, where it registered 84.4 billion. And from this, we can say that the plush toy sales are going at a constant rate where not much change is needed for this business or marketing strategies, and this can also be applied to the apparel industry. But however, I would recommend a marketing or strategy change for the floral industries for VTB, as there's been a constant decrease. So, for example, they should bundle their flowers with their teddy bears at a discounted price, so there could be a bit more sales for them. Now, moving on to the ERP pricings, small to mid-sized businesses can expect the cost of software and services combined to range anywhere between 150,000 to 750,000. For VTB, we're suggesting they should spend around 250,000, as they're a fairly small brand. Even though there's a significant investment, a properly implemented ERP system will pay for itself quickly, and the results will be seen within the next 1 to 1.5 years' time. And now, following on to the supply chain management. For a small business, we are recommending they should spend on average 30,000 for a new supply chain management software. By doing this, it will help improve the efficiencies of the business and ensuring stability at peak times, so they don't have to experience any troubles that they were previously experiencing during the peak periods. And now with our final system is a software as a service system, also known as SaaS. SaaS is a software deployment model where applications are remotely hosted by the applications or service provider and made available to customers on demand over the internet. The SaaS vendor may host the application on its own private server farm or deploy it in a cloud computing infrastructure service provider, such as Amazon or Google. SaaS offers many benefits to the customers, such as improving the operational efficiencies and reduced costs. And there's also a pay-as-you-go plan, which would be ideal for VTB, as during the non-peak periods they want to reduce the costs. A good option that VTB can use for SaaS is Basecamp. They've got several few options, but the one that we would recommend would be the ultimate annual package, which would cost $3,000 per year. And this moves on to our overall budget, which we'd recommend to be around $283,000. And now is the implementation plan.
For the implementation plan, which based on the case cost assessment and possible solutions provided by our teammates, we set three major parts. The first is March to April and June to December, which is a short-term plan. On March to April, we focus on fixing bugs, and from June to December, we focus on building SCM and the data warehouse. So for the future long term, which is all be finished after the short term period, is to build a fully integrated ERP system. So step one, the temporary outsourcing accounting and the supply chain process, as the company does not have enough employees to perform the business function and fix bugs simultaneously. So, meanwhile, hiring short-term professionals and business analytical tools are also important to this step, because hiring short-term professionals will accelerate the whole process for fixing bugs in only 2 months. And hiring a business analytical tool will be helpful for the company to predict their trend for the customer behavior by analyzing customer information such as customer orders and make the properly safety inventory level on the next peak time. So after that, from June to December, which is all be done of the building SCM and the data warehouse. According to the business, enough capability for handling with surge in order in off time. So outsourced transferring data and analytic tools data should be transferred into a current system for testing and configuring the SCM and data warehouse can be integrated into a current architecture well. So after that, the company has enough capability, as the company has enough capacity for handling with the problem insert order and delivery with associated with new supply chain management and the data warehouse. So in this step, our business process are no longer being needed for outsourcing, because we have enough ability to handling with such problems in peak time. So the next step is building an ERP system, which will reduce the complexity of the business process with the current prevent fragmentary business systems. And also, single language system will enhance the business usability for the employees as they are more understandable for IT employees and working well with them. So, and also another advantage of the ERP is focus on future updates, which will be helpful for the company to afford a state of the art. So, but the ERP system are mainly focusing on the long-term benefits, and it has relative high cost and long-term implementation period. So the phased implementation method is highly recommended as it has low cost and low risk. So the advantage of the phased implementation is also associated with high flexibility. So the company can perform the ERP system until the company has enough capability for handling with financial supporting and enough ability for implement the whole ERP system. So the advantage of ERP system can help the company for greater resource planning, demand forecasting, and effective processing. Now let's pass the risk management to Daniel.
Thanks, Steve. If VTB chooses to implement IT system, mitigating risk will help success. Basically, risk are countless potential failure points that can happen in the entire ERP's lifecycle. Risk comes from everywhere. It comes from technology, staff, and other factors such as earthquakes and whatnot. Our aim is not to only mitigate the risk, but also be prepared in case they happen. We are using the PwC's 5 steps of risk mitigation. 5 steps on mitigating risk. Firstly, we identify the failure points. We assess the potential damage that each risk could occur, or could happen, and define the probability of each of the failures. With those, we can then prioritize the risk, and then step 5, mitigate the risks. First step, identify the potential points of failure. The best defense against risk is to identify the risk from the start of the project. We're doing this by creating a document, which is a business IT portfolio that has all the general information about the users and the vendor. For example, general application information, the users and the scope of data, application categorization, the business capabilities, the capabilities of Vermont with this ERP, the budget, and also the middleware, the technical condition. At the moment, we have this middleware, and we don't want that. We want a single ERP system that will handle everything for us. The business value, how the proposed IT services can be effective to our business, and the cost, as you mentioned, as Sultan mentioned, the maintenance and the upgrade and all the costs. The risk for VTB, there are 3 risks that we identified. The first one is it may not fit the business model, and second, it can create user resistance, and also the last one is unavoidable, which is it could fail at any time. Second step, assess the potential damage. There will always be a weak point in the IT system, and there will always be damages caused by these risks. We need to know who's going to be affected, how they're going to be affected, and how long the damage will last. Step 3, determine the probability of failure. As we are working with an IT outsourcing company and an SaaS provider, we can use their data analytics to predict the probability of each risk. Step 4, prioritize the risk. Seen on step 2 and 3, we know the damage that the risk can happen, or the risk can do, and the probability. Based on these facts, we can safely identify how the risk, and then we can prioritize which one to handle first. Step 5, mitigate risk. Now we all know about the risk, we can now act upon them. We can use Stenzel's IT team to address the risk, and it's also better to address them sooner than later. Also, with those risks, we can prepare the staff for the avoidable risks, like what to do in case
30 seconds.
And plan an action to resolve. I will now pass it to Louis for a quick conclusion.
Okay, so just quickly, just to conclude, we've gone through our presentation, and I believe that we've answered the question that I presented at the start. How can Vermont use IT strategically to improve their business performance through the implementation of the ERP? And then we've also assessed how this is going to deliver value in each of our different steps, as well as mitigate the risk in each section. That's all I've got time to say.
Thank you.
We'll just have a reference list. Yeah.
Excellent.
Sweet. Any
20
questions?
minutes, 3 seconds.
Ah, okay, good.
Perfect.